All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Bungie is going to be nerfing the exotic grenade launcher Anarchy very soon here. And when they do, I want to talk about what will be the meta after the Anarchy is nerfed. Now, the first thing I need to cover is that my Titan looks gorgeous. I don't want to see even one comment down below harassing my Titan's look, okay? My Titan's beautiful. Secondly, we need to cover is that there's a good chance, knowing Bungo, that they nerf the Anarchy and it's still the best weapon in slot. But assuming that that's not the case, let's go ahead and talk about what the meta would be if they do properly nerf the Anarchy. Or I guess I don't know if I want it to say properly, because I kind of want the Anarchy to be still be pretty good. So first things first, if the Anarchy gets nerfed, we're going to talk about next weapon in slot and then power ammo slot. That would be an exotic that would be able to replace it, all right? We've got Deathbringer is going to be a really good option. I mean, they buff this thing. It has an extreme amount of damage. You get the Catalyst on it. It hits its full damage peak much easier. The Deathbringer is definitely a worthy replacement of the Anarchy. Other than that, we do have the Sleeper Simulant, which recently got buffed. Could definitely replace it. And Xenophage, Old Faithful. Xeno always putting in work. So those three I'll mention first in regards to a replacement for Anarchy. If the Anarchy is absolutely trash after these nerfs. Now, if that's not the case, we're going to talk about what exotic you'd use in other slots, because, you know, obviously when you're creating your build for PvE or PvP even for that matter, you want to think about, where do I want my exotic to be first? Because you only get one of those. You get as many legendaries as you want in your kinetic energy or power, or even on your armor side. So you want to think about your exotic first. So let's talk about that. In the energy slot, if we use a legendary down here, right, we'll talk about that in a minute. In the energy slot, we can talk about how we probably run Ariana's Vow would be one of the better options in the energy slot in terms of hard meta for PvE, in terms of what is the most effective. I mean, you can run around and use whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you're trying to accomplish like really, tough activities like Grandmasters, especially when it's a tough week. Some of these weeks are kind of easy, but when it's a tough week, trying to beat Grandmasters, you're trying to beat Master Vogue, for example, you're going to want to use the best weapons. So Ariana's Vow might be one of the best weapons in the energy slot in terms of exotics. Now we'll move on to the next one. And Izanagi's Burden is going to be one of the best for the kinetic. So I'm going over kind of just the hard meta stuff, all right? First, I'm going to cover the hard meta stuff, and then we'll go a little bit more deep dive into other things and alternative things, okay? So assuming that those are the best exotics per slot, per PvE right now, and things don't get mixed up too much in the recent future changes, let's say we're using our power ammo weapon right now. We're going to be using a rocket. We've got auto-loading Vorpal on any rocket is really good. Make sure you do have impact casing here. You see how I don't have impact case on this? Feels bad. Impact case is what you want. You do also have the option for this Royal Entry, which is really good. You can get Clown Cartridge, so you can actually have 2 rockets in the mag that can be extremely good burst DPS as opposed to, like sustained DPS. And then you can also get this Overflow Vorpal roll or Overflow Lasting Impression roll. You can also get auto-loading Lasting Impression. I still, to this day, have the worst RNG. I have never gotten an auto-loading, lasting impression, and an impact casing roll. I have turned in how many tens of thousands of trials tokens and done how many activities. I still cannot get a roll like that to drop for me. I'm cursed. So let's say you pick one of these rockets out. Now the Anarchy's been nerfed. Okay, let's start there. Any one of these is fine. You can choose it based on, the activity. If you need more burst damage, Clown Cartridge one, if you have that one, that's kind of hard to get. If you need more, if you don't have a ton of immunity phases that are short, lasting impression will be great. If you do have a ton of short immunity phases, you probably go for something more like Vorpal, so that way you don't end up wasting that lasting impression shot, like it blows up 3 seconds after it sticks to the boss rather. And so let's say we start with the rocket. We can talk about energy weapons. I can't tell you enough how amazing. I'm gonna go all the way to the kinetic slot with this one. The ignition code with blinding is slide shot, and blinding is unbelievable in Grandmasters right now. Unbelievable in Master Vogue. Whenever you need to blind ads, it is so strong. The ability blinding enemies is probably so underrated. I mean, a lot of you already know this and you already use it and you're like, what do you mean it's underrated? But it doesn't seem to be like hard meta that everyone's like rocking this. Like, honestly speaking, if they were to come out with Master Vogue today and the power level was 1400, I would be like, we got this, guys. Everyone put on a blinding grenade launcher. We'll get it done. We'll literally just keep blinding the enemies so much that they don't shoot us, and we'll eventually, wear them down, and we'll take down all the enemies and beat the encounters. You know what I'm saying? blinding grenades are so strong. So if we're going to create a build with legendaries and we need to use something else, blinding grenades are a really good option. I'm going to talk about those a lot more and more in the future as I use them. Got the truth teller here. We got the ignition code. You can use a non-blinding grenade launcher too with salvage or salvo. Depends on the encounter, what role you want to use on that and stuff of that nature. So if we're going to use this and this, we could run, say there's a lot of barrier champions, you can run Aeon's Vow, easily the best for conquering barrier champions. It'll depend largely, you know, in the future what champion mods we get. Maybe in the future we'll have something like, you know, machine gun overload champions. Who knows what they'll be? Maybe it'll be something like fusion anti-barrier, you know, mod. We don't know. We don't know what there could be next season. There could be a variety of different things. That will change things up quite a bit. I do like when there are special ammo weapon mods that can take out barriers and stuff. It's quite nice. But if there aren't, then, you know, Aeon's Vow is definitely one of the go-to options. So Fatebringer is going to be a good option. And I know what you're going to say. Lucky, you just said the Fatebringer is terrible. The Fatebringer, this Fatebringer, everyone is going to dismantle. That was the point of the message in that last video. A lot of people were angry at me. Everyone is going to dismantle this Fatebringer because when the time loss comes out, it is going to trump it in every way because it's just a guaranteed god roll plus 2 extra perks. So that's really the message of that last one. And a lot of people mistook it, but I'm still laughing about it because people are just, they get so offended when you say something is terrible. But this Fatebringer is terrible. Everyone is going to dismantle their Fatebringer. Every Fatebringer you have right now will get dismantled most likely when the time loss comes out. Trust me, if you don't believe me now, just come back to this video when the time loss comes out. You'll know then. All right. What will still be very strong and very viable will be double slugs. So people will rock double slugs. And there is actually like a crazy technique where you can use like double slug and an anarchy, like quad swapping. I saw this crazy video and it looks like if you think double slug swapping looks crazy, you do this thing, you look like an actual hacker. It's nuts. So that will actually be a probably really strong build. If you don't use that, you can actually rock just double slugs and, you know, just a regular rocket will be really strong still. You'll definitely see people rocking this. Icarus, the Warmind cells are getting nerfed soon here. So a strong build could definitely be something like, you know, you've got your Izanagi's Burden, you've got your Icarus SMG, and you've got your rocket. This will probably be one of the go-to builds that a lot of people will turn to the first day the Anarchy is nerfed, a build exactly like this. But Warmind cells will get nerfed in the future. Maybe people will push more towards something like the stochastic variable or other weapons that, you know, are really effective at clearing ads, you know? You kind of got the synergy between these 3 weapons we have here is that you've got, this is your boss damage weapon. This is your major / champion damage weapon, you know, generally speaking. And then this is your red bar / ad clear weapon, you know? You wouldn't use your primary ammo weapon to shoot the boss. And you wouldn't use your primary ammo weapon really to shoot majors because it just takes so long. So that's the sort of synergy you have there. But you can find synergy in that in a variety of different ways. You know, you can have this here, then you can have this here. So this is how you're handling things. You know, that's totally fine. And maybe this, and now you rock a Fatebringer. You know, probably your time lost by the time these changes go through, right? Fatebringer, your first and last out, and Sleeper Simulant. That would be a really solid build. People will be using all of these builds. All of these weapons I have on here are going to be extremely strong and very viable within the future meta, that's for sure. I'm going to talk a little bit about a few others of them. So the Succession, this Reconstruction Vorpal roll, this is easily the strongest sniper in the game besides Izanagi's Burden. Strongest legendary sniper in the game. I don't need to talk about the slugs. And then the 7th Seraph Revolver, I've talked about this thing. The time payload does increase damage and it stuns Overload champions. So one of the most efficient Overload stunning perks in the game, which is also why that time loss Fatebringer is going to be so amazing because it will just come with explosive payloads, which is going to be amazing. And then as far as the energy slot, the only thing that I really have mentioned at this point would just be the Adored, which is just, there's nothing too much mentioned about this. If you need a sniper for an encounter, this is certainly a meta weapon and something that's really strong. There's the Crucible Sniper you can get as well that has some better rolls, but keep that in mind. So that is a wrap for this video, though. That covers everything. Anarchy is getting the nerf, and if it's still good, then yeah, people will still rock their builds. Me, for example, I'm rocking an Ignition Code. I'm rocking an Icarus SMG or a Stochastic just to try it out and practice with it. This is my build for most encounters right now. I got the Ignition Code blinding everything, Icarus SMG clearing the ads, Warmind cells, etc. And I got the Anarchy for boss damage. This is literally like, if I go into an encounter right now, I'm using pretty much this build exactly as it is. Maybe I swap the energy weapon just for fun, but this is pretty much my build right now. But with time and with these changes, it'll definitely be looking like some of these other builds here. And I'm kind of excited for it. I want to see some things, you know, become the meta. I don't like seeing things get nerfed in PvE, but if it does open for some new meta, that is quite exciting. You know, maybe my Huckleberry will have a place in here. I didn't want to throw it in this video because I think you guys will all call me crazy, but I really like the Huckleberry, and I'm hoping maybe there'll be a spot for the Huckleberry in the future meta. So that's a wrap on this video, though. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.